Hello, good morning. A new day presents itself as a blank check for us to write whatever we choose to write on it. Many thanks for joining us again on Rise and Shine Daily. My name is Janice Coburn. Welcome.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Akwa Ibom State. Beautiful Thursday morning to rise and shine wherever you are. My name is Uyai Anekan, and it's great to be here again this morning. Of course, I will not forget to remind you to be a part of the growing community and also make your contributions to the issues that will be raised on the floor of Rise and Shine this morning. You can do so by following us across all our social media platforms, all of which you can find at spectrumtv.ng. We also have our phone lines that will be displayed on the screen, so do well to call us and also send your WhatsApp and text messages, and of course we'll make good to read them out here on set this morning. Good morning and thanks for joining us once again.
Obviously, good morning, we are.
Good morning, Janice.
I think I would like us to start up the conversation this morning with something someone wrote. He says the chain has been broken. It is time to chase out all corrupt politicians in our government offices and vote for people with competence, character, courage, capacity and care, and of course hashtag new Nigeria people. I know that a lot of Nigerians are beginning to come to terms with the realities or the outcome of the general elections that happened on Saturday the 25th of February, and it's good to see that there's relatively calm around the atmosphere, and I don't know what it is exactly for, but it's good that we are having this kind of calm, this kind of peace, and I think that it's just all the political actors agreeing to the peace treaty that they had to sign. Don't forget, it was also said that in the history of our political space, this is more like the first time that we are having political gladiators, get to sign the peace treaty twice and not once like it normally is. But we see that there's so much calm. I think that all political stakeholders are calling out to their supporters, to just stay peaceful and see how the processes will continue. But while we are waiting for all of that, obviously there has to be a handing over very, very soon, while all the great political parties will find their way to the court to seek redress. But basically, I just love the calm, the peaceful atmosphere that we are enjoying at this period in time. I know that there are pockets of protest here and there. We saw something yesterday that looks like a protest at the Unity Fountain in Abuja yesterday. And of course, too, the police were on hand to make sure that it doesn't spiral out to something more dangerous than it is. More like, yes, it's a peaceful protest, but we needed the police and the military to be there to make sure that it doesn't turn into something else.
Well, at this point, perspectives are actually going to differ. A lot of people are not seeing it as calm being in the country. Yeah. There's more like a lot of indifference to the announcement of Bola Ahmed
I'm not actually talking about the announcement.
Yeah. No,
I'm talking about the fact that people are just peaceful.
Yeah, I think that is from the place where there's meant to be an expected air of joy and jubilation in the atmosphere of the country.
Okay, no, this is that's not what I'm saying exactly. Okay. I'm saying that given the fact that there was just a whole lot of expectations, the elections, according to some people, did not go as expected. It didn't go as expected, and which I love the fact that even the the president-elect made mention of that fact, to Nigerian youths. So it supposedly looks as if there was going to be an uproar, there was going to be protests, our candidate did not win and all of that. But I'm not seeing that. And that's where I'm coming from, the angle I'm actually coming from, that there's relatively peace. Nobody's protesting. I know that, like I said earlier, pockets of protest here and there, but it's not like, oh, the alleged is going to be more than the NSAS protest, blah 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 and all of that. So that's the angle I'm coming from, not the angle of a presidential candidate or a winner of the presidential election has been actually announced and you see all the pomp and pageantry, all the jubilation, but again they were supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so that's celebration.
Well, actually, so just to piggyback on you talking about the fact that there seems to be peace in the country, there is just a calm that is not yes, we are not there are no protests, and we are thankful for that, but there is no air of joy in the atmosphere of the country. It's dense, you know. It's just not. There is usually the kind of celebration that you get when anybody at all wins the election. I mean, President Muhammadu Buhari won the elections in 2019, and there were celebrations, but here we are after an announcement was done, and we do not see that outright celebration of, oh yes, we now have a president-elect. Yes, there is calm. The streets of social media is not awash with, you know, congratulatory messages coming in for the president-elect. We know that we've seen pockets of people from the international community begin to send in their congratulatory message, but even at then, it's the air of celebration that we're supposed to feel in the country upon the fact that we have just concluded another round of general elections. It's not there. It's lacking in the atmosphere of the country, and for some people is rather worrisome, because we would have expected that at this time, you know, I mean, even it's expected of the APC that would have seen, you know, pockets of parties here and there just to celebrate their victory. But it looks like the celebration of their victory is rather hush-hush in some quarters. Even the APC are not so loud about their victory. You know, now these are like speculations of Nigerians, but the atmosphere is it's
kind of tense. It's kind of cloudy, like you know, a very cold blanket spread across Nigeria. But yeah, I think that we're not totally correct. Yesterday I saw who was that now? I think we have a video of that. Please, if you can have that video play, that would be a great one.
Of course, the celebrations are not going to be totally non-existent. But we're talking about a nationwide, you know, celebration of a victory, not like having your, you know, people in your first line of everybody has people who genuinely follow them, and of course genuine followers of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is now the president-elect, will definitely celebrate him. But we're saying that celebration is supposed to be, you know, it's supposed to cut across the entire nation at this time. I mean, we have a new president-elect. Nigerians are supposed to celebrate, you know, the fact that, oh, we have a new person coming on board, but there just seems to be a lot of indifference. But I must, you know, really be thankful for the fact that as against all of the you know, envisaging that we had, oh, there's going to be pockets of problems here and there, we like to see the fact that we've also seen presidential candidates of other political parties say, everybody hold your peace. Exactly. And that's a good one.
Exactly, that's where I was coming from. Okay, let's take a look at let's take a listen to this video though.
Strike, yes, no more strikes. Aya, Chama Surulere, my tummy. Yes. Vice, Dosumu. Dosumuda, Dosumu. Chief of Staff to the Speaker, my brother and friend, Lance Smart. The chief of the Giwa.
We are going to talk about celebration. It's just Desmonelius right there screaming at the top of his voice.
It's not just Desmonelius.
It's just Desmonelius. Yeah. Should we replay the video?
We had lots of supporters.
The jubilation should have been in that entire video. It's just Desmonelius really happy. We are happy, yes, you know, that the process has come and gone. Yes, but it is worrisome that the celebration is not widespread.
Well, some people have said that Desmond Elliott, who is a Nigerian director and politician, was elected into the House of Assembly Surulere constituency. Is doing all of that because he's also going to go for a re-election.
Of course, he's going for a rerun.
You know, into the House of Assembly representing the Surulere constituency. That's why he's doing that. But come on, that's his party. He's an All Progressive Congress member, so you don't expect anything less. So even if he wasn't going for a re-election, he would still be jubilating because that's his party. And then don't forget, there's something about winning. No matter how small the winning is, it comes with that air of celebration. It comes with that air. It comes with that air of relief. This win is not small.
This win is a mega win. It is for the most important seat.
I'm just talking about generally about winning. Whether you win as a presidential candidate.
Imagine how we celebrate our small wins, Janet.
Exactly.
We celebrate our small wins so loudly. How come we can't celebrate
exactly? Anyways, maybe when he is formally, sworn in, we are going to see that celebration. But let's just put a pause on that, okay? And thank you so much once again. This is Rise and Shine. Of course, we talk about topical issues on this platform, and of course, afford you the opportunity as well to be part and parcel of all our conversations. So do well when the phone lines are open. Do well to call in, send in your opinion, send in your text messages. Don't forget, like I'll always say, Nigeria is one country that we all have, and we have to put our hands on the plow to make sure that it works, okay? So let's take our major stories for the morning. Of course, these are stories that are making the rounds today. And we go straight to the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has promised to work relentlessly for the betterment of the country. He stated this after he received the certificate of return as the president-elect of Nigeria yesterday, which was Wednesday. The certificate was presented to him by the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, at the International Conference Center in Abuja. In the early hours of yesterday as well, which was March 1, Yakubu declared Tinubu as the winner, and in his certificate ceremony speech titled "To Serve the People," Tinubu assured Nigerians, especially the youths, that he will work day and night to improve the country. And he, however, also acknowledged that the betterment of the country cannot be achieved alone, urging Nigerians, irrespective of political parties, to come together to develop the nation. The president-elect said, "To you, the people, especially the youths, I will work day and night. I will work to the utmost of my ability to make Nigeria better. For this to be a victory at all, it cannot simply be a victory for one man or even one party. It must become a victory for all Nigerians who are committed to a greater society. And to those who did not support me, I ask that you not allow the disappointment of the moment to keep you from realizing the historic national progress that we can make by joining hands and hearts in common endeavor to pull this nation through." In a phrase, I'm asking you to work with me. I may be the president-elect, but I need you. And more importantly, Nigeria needs you. My heart and my door are open to you. I ask you to come in so that we may begin the task of rebuilding a national home together, day by day, brick and brick. I don't think we should go ahead with all of this, but then again, this is quite a very heartwarming, also very powerful, acceptance speech. I like the fact that he has called on the Nigerian youths, which he understands are more like the backbone of any viable society. And again, let us even look at all of the things that happened in terms of, the third force, the rising of the third force. That's political party totally had the backing of young people, and that is why someone like Peter Obi, that left ABGA to the People's Democratic Party and finally found his way into the Labour Party to contest as the president, under that platform, could go as far as he did. Whether we like it or not, history was made on the 25th of February 2023. And it showed that power actually belongs to the populace and not to any political party or even any political candidate. That the mandate to vote who becomes the next president of Nigeria actually belongs to the people. And that's why we saw, the man Peter Obi go that far in the elections. And also, when we even look at the breakdown of how the elections went and how the votes trickled in, you find out that even in the most places where people thought that Peter Obi could not penetrate, which is the far north, Peter Obi penetrated and came up, like we said yesterday, tightly, keenly contested elections. And we saw that. And I appreciate the fact that the president-elect is also appreciating that factor, that brought Peter Obi thus far. Because when the whole thing started, a lot of people thought that, four people sitting in a room and tweeting, it won't culminate to anything. It won't it won't produce anything. It was going to be like counterproductive. But we're seeing that it wasn't counterproductive. It was indeed productive. And I like the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is recognizing that fact, and that's why he's calling on young people and saying, look, I am going to work tirelessly day and night to make sure that we have a better Nigeria.
Of course, at this time, it's congratulations to Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his, being given the certificate of return by the INEC chairman Yakubu Mahmood. At this time, his journey to the Aso Rock Villa has already begun. Of course, we are going to begin to see some preliminary meetings that we hold just to put structure on ground for him, as it were. The fact that he has a lot of inclusion in his acceptance speech is something that is worthy of note. And of course, he has asked for all of the citizens in the country to put their hands together, just so everyone can work together for us to achieve the country that we want to achieve. I mean, acknowledging that the betterment of the country cannot be achieved alone. So although he is the president-elect of the country, there's going to be a boundary to how much he can do as a person if he does not have the cooperation of all Nigerians at this time. Like he said earlier on, INEC has announced who the president-elect is. It might not have been what we call it now, the street expectation of the people, but at this time we have the president-elect. It also means that we would also have to put all hands on deck to make sure that we work together to make sure that Nigeria continues to be habitable for everyone that is in it. Now, talking habitable, we are cutting across all the sectors. The fact that, I mean, peace, security, businesses should be able to continue to be viable in the country, open up forests for foreign direct investments in the country and all of that. These are the expectations at this time. But a couple more months before that position is cemented for Bola Ahmed Tinubu at this time. But of course, the certificate of return has been given to him. We've heard his what we call his first official speech to the country. Of course, over and over again, this speech is going to be one speech that Nigerians are going to hold him to account for the next 4 years that he will be seated as president of the country. Now, there's going to be more things that will be looked at with thorough scrutiny as we go ahead of this time. Of course, we have visuals there of the vice presidential elect, also Kashim Shettima and his wife right beside him. The next frontiers of the nation, as it were. Yes. So it's a good day to be a Nigerian, really. At this point, we can say it's a good day to be a Nigerian. Of course, there was a communique that was read on behalf of the ECOWAS authority, and the governments and the entire ECOWAS leadership also wished to convey their heartfelt congratulations to His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his election or as president of the Federal Republic. Like I said earlier, we have begun to see trickles of congratulatory messages coming from the international body for the president-elect at this time. That's happening. We've also seen some stakeholders in the country as of yesterday also go to pay homage, congratulatory courtesy visit to the president-elect. So pretty much there is the beginning of some form to that fact. 8 years of the first era of APC as led by President Muhammadu Buhari is about to be wrapped up, and there's a new day, a new Nigeria to be faced and welcomed by Nigerians.
Yeah, but there's something again that I want us to even look at before we go to our next focus for or next major story for this morning. I remember in 2015 when President Muhammadu Buhari won the elections, and even before the counting was over, we had former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan pick up the phone and call the president to say congratulations, Mr. President, on your winning, because obviously he saw that the president was winning at the time. But I know that some political gladiators as well, such as a former Nigerian lawmaker, Senator Shehu Sani, is also asking, the opposition parties that have lost, of course, the PDP and the Labour Party, to also stretch that olive tree, towards President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president-elect now, to congratulate him on his victory at the polls. So that's another thing. Former President Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan, just set a precedent that a lot of Nigerians are feeling that, okay, so that should work for every other person. Well, now, let's not forget that someone like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, under the People's Democratic Party, is also saying that he's heading to court, to seek redress and contest this particular results that INEC has called. And we are also hoping to hear from Labour Party presidential candidate as well, Peter Obi, in the later days that follow.
Well, at this point, Goodluck Jonathan, former president of the Federal Republic, was a man of his kind. You don't expect everybody to play politics the way Goodluck Jonathan played politics. So if we have the likes of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, or even Kwankwaso for that matter, let's put three of them side by side. If they decide that they are not yet ready to extend their congratulatory messages, which of course, let's be very honest, will come in the next couple of days, even whilst they have gone to courts to contest, that might come in. Now, two things. Now, some of these things are two flip sides. You can look at it either way. If they have congratulated Bola Ahmed Tinubu at this time, there's a tendency for Nigerians to also think, oh, okay, so all three of you have conceded to the win of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So let's be sure that they are also being careful with some of the steps that they are taking or not taking at this time. And when we saw the likes of Dino Melayi, who is a spokesperson for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, put out a feat during the collation, it's just expected that that hurt is felt even by his principal. So if we do not see them extend that hand of fellowship immediately, or that olive branch, I don't think we should jump into hasty conclusions just yet. I'm sure that are being careful to what kinds of body language that they're
I think you just said it all. If they begin to call and make those congratulatory messages or calls, don't forget as well, former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan actually made a private call to the president, but how that sneaked into the public domain, into social media, is something a lot of Nigerians do not understand. And that was how it just spiraled, and everybody had, former President Goodluck Jonathan actually called the president to say congratulations. So let's not also, like I said, you just said it all. So if we are having someone like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi puts that kind of call across, trust me, for it to just skyrocket.
Yes,
and it could
Nigerians
could also be blown out of proportion as well. So we have someone like Dino Melayi, spokesperson PCC for PDP, okay, and then all of the what do you call it now? all of the how do I put it now, all of the issues, you know, that have been associated, all of the malpractices now that has been associated with this particular elections will just mean nothing at the end of the day.
It's possible for it to look that way once they extend that.
Of course, yes. It means what Dino Malaya did was just him just performing some, you know, shenanigans in at the National Collation Center. He doesn't hold water and all of that. So, you know, so questions will be asked.
I think congratulatory messages should be the list of our problems as of now. I mean, members of the international community,
they are saying accept defeat. You know, just accept your defeat, and there's no point going to court to go and contest this presidential results and all of that. But if the other parties, the opposition parties, think that they have all it takes and the evidence,
and they have strong reason to do so.
The evidences is not even strong reason. The evidences, you know, to be able to take back this mandate, because we've been hearing on social media stolen mandate, here. PDP saying stolen mandates. Labour Party saying stolen mandates. I think the only person that has gradually accepted defeat at this point in time is Kwankwaso of the NNPP, who won just one state, and that was Kano State. But between Labour Party and People's Democratic Party, that came close in terms of numbers. I think that they also think that they have a strong, you know, proofs to show that the elections was actually rigged. But yeah, let's just hang it there. Of course, we are going to be having further you know, conversations on this during our focus conversation. Let's take now to, you know, the second major story that we have for this morning.
Of course, on the heel of the general elections that have just been concluded, expectations are wild from certain quarters, especially the followers of the obedience movement, as it were. And Peter Obi, in the last couple of days, just like Atiku Abubakar too, has, you know, spared himself, you know, several words. Now, the flag bearer of the Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, has said he will address Nigerians shortly following the outcome of the 2023 presidential elections. He disclosed this on his verified handle Twitter on Wednesday. Now, our vice presidential candidate, Dr. Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed, is addressing an international press conference at the Labour Party headquarters in Abuja. He intends to address Nigerians and the international community shortly. These are the words of Peter Obi, who was the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, of course. We have also continued to see him ask that his followers, you know, remain calm. Nothing should be hastily done in any quarter. And I think now that he has also come out to say that in due course, in the next couple of days, we are going to have, you know, him address Nigerians. I think that also puts to rest a lot of his followers. And like he said, it's just a good place to see that, as opposed to the thoughts that we're flying during the collations, we have relative calm across the country, because we've also seen some of these leaders ask that their, you know, followers hold their peace, meaning that it's not like we are not observing the turn of events, but trust us to have a systemic way to follow up this. So I think it's also important the way you know, this is going as of now.
Yeah, definitely important. And I like the fact that Peter Obi has, you know, spoken to young people, and I like the fact that young people are also listening to their leader, supposed leader, you know, because we saw all the, you know, the shenanigans that followed the elections and all of that. So young people have actually said, this is our leader, this is our president.
Yeah, there are those hashtags going
going around. But yes, he said, let there be calm, and there should actually be calm in Nigeria. It's not a reason. I would always say that politics or elections is not supposed to be a war zone, okay? So let there be actually be calm in Nigeria. If we destroy Nigeria, which other country will we run to at this point in time? Fingers crossed on Peter Obi, the Labour Party presidential candidate, of course, addressing the whole country as to what step he's going to be taking further. But at this point, we just take a breather and join Mary Joseph, who is standing by for the news brief. And when we do come back, of course, we'll be taking Spotlight Dailies and also looking at our focus conversation. Do stay with us.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abuse. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria Police Force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian Police Force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Ibro.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in court examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Government, Secretary General, distinguished delegates.
This was the leader of Nigeria for Spectrum TV to recover 40 lives in Tinubu County.
A very good morning to you and welcome to your morning news briefing Spectrum, live from Uyo. I am Mary Joseph. We begin the news brief this morning with Nigeria's President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he has paid a thank you visit to President Muhammadu Buhari in his hometown in Daura, Katsina State. Speaking about the purpose of the visit, Tinubu said he came to present the certificate of return to President Buhari as the party leader and to commend his efforts in supporting democracy in Africa. In a related development, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has felicitated the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, for emerging the winner of the February 25 presidential election. According to a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Laolu Akande, Osinbajo described the president-elect as a bridge breaker and also a bridge builder whose immediate assignment was to reach out to aggrieved sections of the electorate and to meet the expectations of the youth. In the meantime, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan has said that Nigeria will experience more development with the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president-elect. Lawan, who made the remarks at the plenary, prayed that the country would see more and better development and progress with Tinubu's leadership, adding that the 10th Senate would provide the kind of support that the president-elect would need for the betterment of the country. Meanwhile, the United States has congratulated Nigeria on the election of the ruling presidential party candidate Bola Tinubu, while calling for calm amid accusations of voter fraud and concerns over technical malfunctions. State Department spokesman Ned Price said the competitive election represented a new period for Nigeria's politics and democracy. Let's head now to the foreign scene, where the leaders of China and Belarus have expressed extreme interest in a peaceful resolution in Ukraine. Chinese President Xi Jinping and Belarus leader Alexander Lukashenko, a close ally of Russia's Vladimir Putin, in a statement issued after talks in Beijing, said his country fully supports a Beijing plan for ending the war in Ukraine. And finally, in sports, Nigeria's under-20 national team, the Flying Eagles, will today face the Hippos of Uganda in the quarterfinals of the ongoing CAF under-20 AFCON in Egypt. Aside from a progress to the semi-finals of the competition, the winners of the clash will also secure a spot at the 2023 under-20 World Cup, which will take place in Indonesia between May 20 and June 11. We'll have details of these stories and more in our news at 12. I am Mary Joseph. Let's head back to Rise and Shine, where we have Janice and Uyai on standby. Have a wonderful morning.
Government, Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Lagos Nigeria for Spectrum TV to recover 40 lives in State County.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Rise and Shine, and we're coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Of course, it's a great day to be in Nigeria, and I mean, after we have just received the announcement of our now president-elect, Senator Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Several conversations that we've already had on the show this morning. The fact that he has already given his first acceptance speech upon being given the certificate of return by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu. We also saw the fact that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has also called for calm and asked that Nigerians hold fort as he will soon be addressing Nigerians on the proceedings of the just concluded elections. Mary Joseph brought us tidbits of global news. At this point, we'll be moving straight to our daily spotlight, where we'll look at the front pages of our national dailies.
Okay, daily spotlight, and we are going straight now to national dailies, and we're starting this morning first and foremost with the Punch newspaper. Let's find out what we have on the front pages of the Punch this morning. The big caption, of course, says Tinubu woos Atiku, Obi as party rejects results, and the writer says PDP, LP, NNPP, others refuse to sign election result sheets in Abuja. Again, Buhari, Osibajo, UK, ECOWAS, Senate, governors congratulate president-elect. Obi campaign moves legal battle as Tinubu visits Buhari in Daura. We also have Obi to traders, the trader who changed the game. Okay, Obi, the trader who changed the game. You want to get details of this particular headline, it's on page 12 of the Punch. And moving further, banks' assets rise to 73 trillion naira, says Central Bank of Nigeria. Grants Nigerians visas on arrival, federal government tells India. Marketers to sanction depots, filling stations, overpricing fuel. And we have hashtag Emilokon, the kingmaker who became king. You can get details of this particular story on page 7. Moving forward now, and of course, we have a pictorial story of how the votes, for the 4 major contenders in this particular presidential race were shared according to how votes trickled in as well. And that's just all we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
Our very next paper will be the Nation newspaper. We'll be looking at the front page of the Nation newspaper at this time. And the very big story there says, I hear you loud and clear, President-elect tells youths. We also have your poll results reflect will of Nigerians, says Buhari. Page 5 is where you can find the story. It says UK Prime Minister Macron, IBB held Tinubu Shetima. Tinubu's victory excites capital market, stockbrokers set agenda. Of course, we saw him having a lot of town hall meetings with set men in certain sectors. Okay, that's great. FEC OK's Africa Union Convention on Cross-Border Cooperation. Young Nigerians will get full attention. Okay, that's the rider for the big story says, I hear you loud and clear, President-elect tells youth. The rider says young Nigerians will get full attention. Tinubu promises good governance, functional economy, security. President-elect, Vice President-elect get certificate of return. We also have here JAM sacks 2 over alleged forgery. Excited Oshun Ondo residents celebrate Tinubu. That's all that we have on the front page of the Nation at this time.
Okay, let's go now to a very next paper, and that will be the Daily Sun newspaper. Of course, the big story here still on the president-elect. It says president-elect makes firm promise. Tinubu, I'll work with everybody. And of course, the writer says he, vice president-elect, gets certificate of return through opponents. Governors Kalu, echoes others hail victory. And we have that Buhari admits fault in electoral process, and the writer says encourages aggrieved parties to seek justice in court. We have that story on page 26. House Majority Leader Al-Hassan Ado Dugua arrested, remanded in Kano prison. For more details of this, check page 4 of the Daily Sun. Moving forward now, it says 109 billion naira fraud. Trial of ex-accountant general stalled over missing statement. You have that story on page 4. No hard feelings, losing Senate seat, Ikpazo. You have that story on page 29. Of course, the writer says expresses thanks to God. And we also have a big story here that says we will challenge election outcome in court. Obeys running mate. And the writer of that story says APC defeated Labour through illegalities and urges Nigerians to vote party at Cuba elections. You can have that story on page 6. JAM dismisses 2 staff over professional misconduct. It's on page 29 of the Daily Sun. I think that's just okay. There's one here that says polls. UK urges federal government to look into concerns of opposition and also congratulates Tinubu. That story is on page 27. I like the fact that, aside from just congratulating the president-elect, UK is urging the federal government to also look into the concerns of the major oppositions in this particular presidential race.
All right, let's move now to this day newspaper. That's where we'll be looking at the front page now, and the big story there says Tinubu, my certificate of return is called to duty I can't ignore. Tells opponents, their supporters, I understand you're hurt. Says he needs them, but Nigeria needs them more at this time. He reiterates commitment to progress, development, renewed hope for Nigerians. Election result reflects the wish of the electorate, Akeredolu asserts. Yakasai urges Atiku Obi to accept outcome of presidential poll. Will challenge ex-Lagos governor's victory in court, Baba Ahmed vows. Knox Lawan ever comments on electronic transmission of results. Exercise lacks credibility, transparency, situation room declares. Another story here says S&P, how Nigeria's fuel crisis. Cash crunch ended 31-month growth in business activities, says PMI at worst level since pandemic. Senators fought Lawan's claim on electronic results transmission. Buhari, my administration's achievements earned Tinubu victory. Former Lagos governor pays thank you visit to president in Dara. President-elect receives congratulatory messages from world leaders, including French president. We also have here, of course, there's a pictorial image of the presentation of certificate of return to Tinubu. Okay, that's basically it. But I think there was a story here that caught my attention. Okay, where we have President Buhari reiterating that his administration's achievements earned Tinubu the victory that he just received at the polls.
Well, I also think that nobody will, run a country and then say that I didn't do well at the end of the day. And going by all of the presidential scorecard that we've seen in the past couple of months, you know, that's more like a deliberate attempt and deliberate effort from the presidency and this particular administration to tell Nigerians, for those of Nigerians that, you know, would say that the president hasn't done anything. The presidential scorecard was an opportunity for this particular administration to reel out some of, you know, the major achievements of the Buhari-led administration. And it's open to Nigerians, you know, to decide, has the president done well or he hasn't done well. And the toppings on it right now, more like the icing of on the cake right now, is this particular elections. Okay, well, let's give it to him as well. The elections aren't done yet. We still have March 11 to conduct the gubernatorial elections and houses of assembly elections across the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So let's say that at the end of that election, which the outcome of the presidential election will greatly affect the Guba elections as well. We have a lot of Nigerians that are saying, look, because of all the, you know, discrepancies and challenges that we associated with this particular presidential elections, I'll just stay put in my house. I won't go to anywhere to vote. There are also a lot more Nigerians that feel that this is a challenge. If we can go this far in the presidential elections, then we can do better, you know, during the gubernatorial elections. Let's show Nigerians that we had a mandate, you know, during the presidential elections, and we will replicate that again during the Guba elections. So coming from the angle of, you know, President Muhammadu Buhari saying, look, my achievements as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, all of that I have achieved in this particular administration, set the background, set the platform, sets the soft landing for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you know, to become president-elect today. I think it's left for Nigerians to let us know if they actually believe, you know, that the president actually gave Bola Ahmed Tinubu a platform for him to soar and become the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But again, another thing is, some people will look at it from this angle though. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while campaigning, continued, you know, to reiterate the fact that he gave President Muhammadu Buhari a strong support, and that's why he was able, you know, to become the president of Nigeria. So should we at this point in time say that this is you know, a reciprocal of an opportunity you gave to me to become the president, I have given it back to you, you know, one good turn deserving another, or is that how it's going to put? One good turn deserves another? No, not in this context now, but this is more like President, some people would argue that this is more like President Muhammadu Buhari telling Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so you did this for me and I am doing it for you again in return. So, but let's open up the phone lines. Let Nigerians have their say this morning on the show. Okay,
I think we have one more paper that we can take. That should be Vanguard. We just take Vanguard and then we'll go straight into the calls this morning, just before we head on to the rest of our conversation. So the big story, of course, is still going to be everything related to the just concluded collation of results. So the big story here says Tinubu extends olive branch to Atiku, Obi and Kwankwas. So of course, the olive branch you talked about earlier, they haven't extended it yet. Presidential poll, losers should go to court, not the streets. Now, these are the words of the president to Nigerians at this time. Poll will retrieve a mandate in court, says Obidati. Atiku supporters remain calm, will reclaim our stolen mandate. Remember, you had brought up in that conversation earlier. Headers kill volunteer guards member, 6 others in Benue villages. Oh, sorry situation. Page 6. Okay. Of course, there's a pictorial image of the COR being handed over to the president-elect and vice presidential-elect right there. Of course, there is a promise here by Tinubu to work day and night for Nigerians. Tinubu tells Nigerian youths, I hear you loud and clear. Pledges open door policy, wealth creation, jobs, sets up reconciliation committee to meet with Atiku, others. Akere Dolu, okay. Osibajo, Senate, Oshimole, others salute president-elect. British Prime Minister Schuner congratulates Tinubu. Tinubu's election, a new dawn in Nigeria, says IBB. El Rufai Committee report. President-elect must respect party supremacy. APC Vice Chairman. Okay. Are we seeing some underlying conversations about to spew there? All right. Reps Majority Leader Doguwa remanded in prison. Page 7. 10th Senate, APC leads with 51 slots as PDP gets 27, Labour Party gets 7, NNPP 3, SDP 2, YPP 1, APGA 1. We also have here Olufasan. Buhari promised credible presidential poll but delivers a sham. Page 16 is where you can find that story. We have here, okay, there's a sports story here that says Al Ittihad offer Messi $94 million per year. Forex story, turnover in I&E falls by 22.4% to $1.7 billion. Page 19 is where you can find the story, and those are all the stories that we have on the front page of the Vanguard this morning.
Okay, so at this point, let's just quickly take a short breather, and when we come back, of course, we open up the phone lines for Nigerians to have their reactions. Don't forget, President Muhammadu Buhari, while wrapping up his administration, has said that he provided a soft landing because of all the achievements his administration has recorded for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ride on, and opposition parties also, the olive branch has been stretched to them to accept and work in unity with this Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration that will be starting on the 29th of May now, 2023. So we'll take all of that, look at all of that when we do come back from this very short break. To stay with us.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigeria police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Ibro.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Welcome back. Of course, it's still Rise and Shine, and at this point, we'll be heading straight to our segment where we have Nigerians give their thoughts on issues on the floor this morning. Of course, we're looking at the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari has said that the achievements of his administration gave room for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be able to win, the just concluded presidential elections. Yeah. What are your thoughts in that regard? And, if we looking at the scorecard that has been brought to us time and time again in the last couple of months, would you really say that that precedence was what gave Bola Ahmed Tinubu the success that he just garnered at the just concluded elections? Yeah. And I think there was another question we wanted to address also.
Well, looking at the papers, I think we'll also look at Bola Ahmed Tinubu promising, more like he's making a firm promise, to Nigerians that he'll work with everybody. And then, what I was just thinking when president-elect, tell the opposition, I'm stretching the olive branch to you. I need you to come on board. Do they actually carry those people along?
Yeah,
Or it's
once
just
after
like
they're done with the
formalities.
preliminary, yeah.
It's just like formalities. Okay, I'm calling for peace, more like so you don't get to go to court, you know, to contest the results or something. Do they actually
Really
carry
consult
opposition?
them.
Yes, do they actually carry the opposition along in terms of most of the policies, in terms of most of, you know, the things that they get to do in government as to governance? Do they carry the opposition party along? Do they seek for, you know, consult some of these, presidential candidates to say, okay, we know we had a race together. We know that we did not. Okay, let's take this first call now.
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? From Kano.
What's your name? I didn't get the name.
Jude from
Okay,
Kano.
Jude from Kano. Go ahead. Yes, that's what President Muhammadu Buhari is saying, that his achievement actually provided the safe spot for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to rise. Was I drop call? I don't think I can hear him.
Okay, we don't know if Jude is still on the phone line because we
Yes.
can't hear him.
So,
okay.
Okay, so let's just get that sorted out so that we can have smooth conversations with our callers this morning. I know the Nigerians are, you know, waiting to react to some of the stories. The man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, former governor of Lagos State and also a former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and today he is president-elect, you know, fulfilling his lifetime or lifelong dream, you know, of becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Do we think that he has the capacity that he has said, you know, giving firm promises to actually work with everybody? And what are the expectations that we should be having from his administration going forward? I think these are things that Nigerians should hop on, you know, let's have conversations on. And do we actually think that, you know, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari actually provided that platform for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to rise? Or it's just something that, you know, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, according to him during his campaigns, you know, gave President Muhammadu Buhari an edge, you know, to become president. Is this a payback time from President Muhammadu Buhari? Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, dropped call there. The numbers are being displayed on your TV screen. Please do well to call us and let's have conversations together this morning. Don't forget, we're talking about Nigeria. We're talking about some of the major issues, you know, that has surrounded this particular elections to the winning of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Of course. Okay, hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jude.
All right,
Okay, Jude.
All right, from Kano.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Regarding to what you worry.
Okay.
Oh, wow, we're having glitches on the line this
I
morning.
don't know that. I don't know if you're trying to tell us that Nigeria has become a family affair something. Where Buhari rule and drop and look for Atiku to rule. It's not a family something. This is Nigeria. Nigeria is not owned by anybody. It's not owned by anybody. So it's not a family affair something. In that aspect, I think it's very wrong if they could make that kind of statement.
Well, the president made the statement and he said that all of his achievements, has provided that soft landing, has provided that support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
It did not provide anything. His achievement did not provide anything. The regime of Buhari did not.
Okay,
that calls job, but I mean, just to, you know, assuage Jude, it was the president himself, President Muhammadu Buhari, that said he believes his administration's achievement gave Bola Ahmed Tinubu the platform to be able to win at the just concluded election. Of course, like we said, Nigerians will have varying opinions.
Yeah, just more like him saying that, oh, the APC administration has done well in the couple of 8 years.
That is why Nigerians
re-elected the APC to continue in governance, So maybe when you're giving your reactions as Nigerians, let's base it on the fact that Buhari is telling us that APC has done so well.
And Nigerians have endorsed that.
Yes.
That's even a perspective. Let's take this call and then we'll get right back to that conversation because you've just raised smoke. All right.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
What's your name, please?
I'm Bright.
Bright from Port Harcourt. All right, please go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes. I'm saying if this election was very promised us that we are doing free and fair elections. I don't know what him and Tinubu are doing now and the association they are getting from it. So I want to understand what they actually mean by they are two good parties, APC and so they will give their APC they are the ruling party.
Okay, thank you so much, Bright. Thank you so very much.
I think the network is bad. I don't know from what
we
end,
can
but we're
put together his thoughts. Yes, we cannot put together.
So maybe you can text us or send us a WhatsApp message because we couldn't make clear your line of thoughts. Network was really getting in the way. We apologize for that.
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, of course, he's also on the path where he doesn't believe that the APC or Buhari himself has done anything that gave him the platform. But let's piggyback on something you said. At the end of the day, Janice, in all honesty, whether we are complaining of irregularities in the election or not, Nigerians voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is why he had the numbers. First of all, quote and unquote, if Nigerians are accusing a particular party of rigging the elections, Nigerians voted them and gave them the platform to even be able to rig the numbers. Because if President Muhammadu Buhari is saying we did enough to be able to, we satisfied some sects of this country and they found us worthy and valuable enough to re-elect us into governance. It's not the entire country that chose other parties. There are Nigerians in this country that re-chose APC.
So more like the Nigerians that are satisfied with this present administration and its achievements. Let's take this call. I think this will just be our last call for this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Okay, we lost that particular call.
Okay. Hello, good morning. Please turn down the volume of your television set. We do not want to have a holdback. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
I'm Ojuku by name, calling from Kaduna.
Ojuku from Kaduna.
Yes.
All right, please go ahead with your thoughts.
Go ahead.
Yeah. You made a comment there saying that Nigeria voted for APC. Nigeria did not vote for APC. APC took this power by force. So,
the Nigerians did the thumb printing.
Okay, it's actually
Nigerians did not vote for APC. APC took the mandate by force. But we have like people that thumb printed, so they are all Nigerians.
It's just like you saying that some of the other 18 political parties that did not get any votes at all somehow upturned the numbers in their favor. It's not possible.
One last call and we'll take a breather. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. Please turn down the volume of your television. Yes, we can hear you. Good morning.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, so let's just quickly take a breather now. And when we come back, of course, we'll bring our focus conversation and we'll also bring in our guests to analyze us. Don't forget, we are still talking about the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections and all of the inconsistencies that has been associated with this particular elections. Do stay with us and don't move a muscle. We'll be right back.
which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Elections have been held, of course, the presidential elections. A winner has emerged, and he is the president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was a former senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and a former governor of Lagos State, president-elect. Of course, we also seen that a certificate of return has also been given to him as well. And we also know that the opposition party are also going to be marching to the court to seek redress to this particular election results. But then again, we have a president-elect. But we're still looking at the proceedings of this particular elections and reviewing some of the major discrepancies that have been associated with the February 25 elections that held. Anyways, joining us to discuss some of these discrepancies, we are going to be looking at the role of the security in this just concluded elections. We are also going to be looking at rigging as an electoral injustice in Nigeria. Joining us to discuss this morning is Professor Etefia Ekanum, who is a professor at law. Good morning, Dr. Prof, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nigerians from Nigeria.
Okay, and also very next to him is Annie Justin, who is a youth and one of those that say that they are going to reclaim their mandate. Annie Justin is a political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, and you look good this morning.
Good morning, Janice.
Yeah.
Good morning, thank you.
All right. And close to Annie Justin is my very amiable citizen, Matthew O'Connor, who is founder and president, Open Forum. Good morning.
Good morning,
and
Janice.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good morning, fellow citizens, and good morning, humanity.
Oh, yeah, I like the good morning humanity. Let's even start from humanity. Yes, we have a president-elect, and going by his speech, let's even start from there. Going by his speech, this, his acceptance speech yesterday when he got his certificate of return, his promises are more like very firm. I'm going to work day and night to make sure we have a better Nigeria. And Annie, I like the fact that you came out this beautiful this morning. President-elect also talked straightly to young people, youths like you and I. And he's saying that, okay, he's going to make sure that there's something like no more, what do you call it now, strike.
No more strike.
Yes, Prof, thank you. No more strike in the university environment, in the educational sector. But what do you think about his promise? And of course, he has also stretched the olive tree, olive branch now to the opposition party. More like, shoot your sword, let's work together.
Okay, thank you, Janice. The question is this: what would we have expected? Normally, he has been made president. INEC has announced him as the president-elect, so he would come out with his promises. It is, to me, it's a normal thing. We had expected that, but that does not, in any way, change the fact that the election is still under contention. The parties involved are still feeling that they were disenfranchised, they were rigged out of the election. Because why I say this is because as at yesterday, the PDP with the coalition of opposition parties also had a meeting, and a release also was made by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar Waziri, which he also said that he is not accepting the result of the election. So Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, as president-elect, came out and made promises. We as the Nigerian youth, we are used to promises. And if at the end of the day, he is the president, and we don't have issues taking him out of that office, because I'm expecting a lot of issues, then we will be able to look at the promises and look at how he's going to live up to the expectations. But for today, I do not want to be jumping around and heralding promises, because I have been promised a lot of things a lot of times by the government of Nigeria, and none has been done to that.
So it is not particularly because it's one party.
Yes, of course.
Across all parties.
Across all
you have been promised, and no promises
and
have
no
been
promises have been.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think something that is, stems up for me this morning is the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari has said that he believes the victory just, received by Bola Ahmed Tinubu is on the premise of the things he did as president of this country and the APC-led administration. Now, this is how I choose to look at it. I would agree with the president. It means that Nigerians have endorsed the achievement of the Buhari-led administration in the past 8 years, because human beings that are Nigerians actually voted in, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whether we are talking about the process being rigged or the process not being followed as the Electoral Act stated. Citizen Okon, I'm going to ask you, do you agree that President Muhammadu Buhari did enough to give a good precedent that has led to the victory of Tinubu at the polls?
Thank you very much. Very interesting question. I have had cause to reflect on that myself. And because of the elections, the campaigns, right from the party primaries, the direction of Tinubu was clear. And what is that direction? Tinubu is regarded as the leader, national leader of APC. And he played a pivotal role to have birthed this administration. When they started all that bringing small parties together, even the ruling party then mocked. They thought it was impossible. And within a very short time, it became a force that swept away a sitting government. And that also had to do with the personality of the man in power then, and the intimidation of the American government that has been documented. Even Jonathan said so, the role of Obama's government in stampeding him and all of that. But that's not the story for today. The story is that APC came out as a vehicle to get power, not really as a political party. As we speak, they don't have a board of trustees. They couldn't put themselves together to have a board of trustees. People just bandied names here and there. Tinubu, you are the leader of the party. Meanwhile, he was completely cut off. And that was not obvious to some people who were not interested in looking at details until the primaries came. And Tinubu saw that the same force that kept him away from the government he is seen as a national leader was about to take away his aspiration. And what did he do? He has something going for him in Ogun State. Anytime he goes to Ogun State, he makes statements that people will say, is this true? He said he made Buhari president. The man tried the first time, Olule, Oshekeji, Olule, Osheketa, Olule, Ole Sukulori television.
What's that?
It means that he tried the first time, he fell. Second time, he fell. Third time, he fell, and he cried on live telly. And I told him, don't cry, I'm going to make you president. And since I made him president, he has not given me minister, he's not giving me anything. I have not asked him for Gary, I have not asked him for soup and all of that. That was a statement that really got everything about APC reset. And so whatever plans that the APC had and Mr. President, they had to fast track it. And what happened? We saw during nomination that they came out with a consensus candidate. And I give it to Tinubu. I have been saying so. Emilokon is not a bad term, depending on from where you look at it. I personalize that to myself, that it is my turn. I used to tell people I'm contesting in this election. It is as what? As president, as governor, as National Assembly, I'm contesting all the positions. Why? Because anybody I've made up my mind, I'm an informed person. I'm a conscious soul. So anybody I vote for, that is me contesting. So Emilokon is not as bad as people try to paint it. And if somebody at his age, some person may not even know his real age, but that's not the story for now. If Tinubu at his age and whatever other challenges he's facing could be so firm to fight his way through. Ahmed Lawan was announced by APC as a consensus candidate.
Consensus, yes.
He crushed it. Mr. President begged everybody, let me also pick somebody. Governors, you also pick your successors.
So let's put it back to perspective.
Okay.
Now. Let's not derail a little
because
bit.
I'm wondering.
Now, the question is, do we think that this particular administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has done so much
I was still driving
for
there.
Nigerians to the point that Nigerians feel satisfied and have actually turned to the polls and elected another president under the All Progressives Congress?
I was on that route. I'm sorry that it took quite some time.
Yeah.
Fast forward to Tinubu succeeded in the primaries, and you saw the looks on Mr. President. By the time he started the campaign, nobody can tell us that he endorsed the successes of Mr. President up to 20%. He was condemning the administration, not that Lai Mohammed.
Exactly.
Lai Mohammed came out to say that you are campaigning as you are a party man, but the way you are demarketing the party, would you expect people to vote for APC? Tinubu did not hide his feelings about the party. He said it on different places. They don't know how to think. They don't know how to do. They met Naira at 200. They have taken it to 700 to 800.
And we are going to take them out.
They will take them out. So he was running on his person.
Yeah.
So it's not about the achievements of
no, it is not about why. Like Annie has said, anybody that wants to rely on promises of a party or an individual is not conscious of the Nigerian factor.
But later on, we later saw Tinubu begin to say, okay, we are here to build on the precedents of Buhari. He continued to say that in the later phase of this campaign, probably after Lai Mohammed cried out.
Yeah, something when you
it was even before. It was even before.
No, when you follow details, you see when the pressure became much and the progressive governors. Remember throughout this period, the fuel crisis, the APC progressive governors said that this fuel crisis and the Naira crisis are deliberate because the president and the Emefiele do not want Tinubu to win. They want to demarcate the party. They said so openly. And they were the only ones meeting Mr. President. And after one of those meetings, Mr. President went with them for a campaign to endorse Tinubu. But all that, if you have been in politics or you are an analyst or you keep your ears to the ground, you know that all those were window dressing. But the bottom line is that if we are to be true to ourselves, what are the promises that APC made that they have delivered to have made Nigerians to say we are voting the party? Okay. I tell you sincerely, you talk about restructuring was a key thing. Do you know who was the chairman of the restructuring committee? Nasser El-Rufai. That report is in public domain. It's not been implemented. And Nigeria, as presently structured, can never know progress. Annie has, for instance, Annie has admission to go to university. I cannot. And the Nigerian factor is, Annie, you can't go to university until your brother has admission too. That's the mentality we used to run Nigeria. States should grow at their pace. There's no state that cannot stand alone to fend for itself if you are practicing federalism. Okay. So you are not practicing federalism. You promise you do not deliver.
So,
you promise to build.
From where it stands, it means that you do not quite agree that President Muhammadu Buhari did things enough to have
nothing close to it.
So it's more like Tinubu won on an individual base, more like how he sold himself is why.
Yeah, when you say winning, we win elections at different levels. You understand? This is the most controversial election.
We'll get to that. We're not even getting into that.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. I think I want to talk to Professor Etefia Ekanum now. Let's even look at the man, Tinubu. He's given his acceptance speech, and for me it's quite touching. It's quite emotional, you know, calling on everybody to come on board and try to see how we can make Nigeria great again. Now, what do you think of him 4 years from now? Would we say that yes, we are proud that we had the president as the man Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
The man Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to me, even from what Citizen has said, Citizen O'Connor has said, is a strategist. And anybody who has listened to him or anybody who has watched him will know that he's someone that goes into his closet, comes out with a plan, comes out to work on it. I never, I wasn't happy when he emerged as the flag bearer of his party. I wasn't. And many Nigerians were not. But he found a way of working himself, even through the party, to be accepted by Nigerians. So from listening to him yesterday, I think that is what a statesman should say. He spoke very well, extended olive branch to his opponents. And he knows how Nigerian youth feel. He tried to address their feelings. Like any other politician, or like the politicians we have had in our country over time, they will talk to us with words that one can will easily be persuaded, with words that one will feel that there is hope. If going by the words literally, I think one should say that he is prepared, that there is hope. But the fact that we are Nigerians and we have gone through this over and over again, many of us are finding it difficult to just swallow what he has given us. But what hope, what other hope do we have if we do not, if we throw away the one on the table? I want to believe that let us just have faith in our country. I think Citizen O'Connor said something like Nigeria as presently structured cannot develop. To me, that statement is very strong. We are very good Nigerians. We are very knowledgeable and intelligent Nigerians who can make things happen. Restructuring might not happen just today. In this country, we are not where we were in 1999. We are making progress, even the way we are structured. It is not just structuring, it's not just the problem. It's not just that if Nigeria is restructured today, whatever we have as Nigerians, even without talking to ourselves, there will be any major change. It is a personal thing, an ethical thing that is happening to us. We have a president-elect. Some people will say a president that INEC has declared by law. INEC went by law and have told us that by law this person has met the requirement. Chances are that majority of Nigerians did not vote for him. Why? Because Nigerians gathered and everybody, based on what he had, put his vote somewhere in different baskets, and his basket ended up having the majority. So to me, he met the constitutional requirement, and the man has come out to talk to Nigerians. I know we may have been fighting, we may have been quarreling. It was politics. Now, politics is almost over. Can we now move to governance? What do? We give him a chance.
So no political party like the main opposition now. Yes. They shouldn't say withdrawals if they think that their mandate was stolen. It is
part of the process. It is part of the process. I will encourage all of them to continue the process by approaching the tribunal. In fact, I think taking this issue to the tribunal is like putting gold in fire. It will it will have a way of refining the process. And at the end of the day, if the court says, affirms the mandate, well and good.
So,
if the court says,
why can't Nigerians go to the polls and have their mandates upheld? Why do we still have a situation where we have to go to tribunals so we can get mandates back?
Now let me say this: every contestant in a competition sees himself as being the best, and when the best is out, everyone wherever he is will feel that, oh, something might have happened which affected him adversely, and the tribunal or the court is part of this process. There is really nothing wrong at all that people should go there. And I'm saying it. If the opposition do not go approach the tribunal or go to the court, we will always feel that, oh, if they had gone, this A party would have won. If they had gone, Z would have won, and all those things. So my position is, let us go to the tribunal. It is part of the process. Why can't we do it without ever going to the tribunal or the court? That's your question.
Yeah, why does it always have to end there?
Because it is part of the process.
Okay, so now
unless you need to amend the constitution and take it out, but then that would be an infraction of the right of Nigerians.
Okay, just to piggyback on that, a big question that Nigerians also have on the side as we are all trooping, because we've had Professor Mahmoud Yakubu ask that, those that are aggrieved by the process should move up to the courts, the tribunals. Yes, of course, they're going to keep in honoring of Section 65 of the Electoral Act as amended. But now, the question Nigerians are also asking, is the judiciary in this country trustworthy to give back to Nigerians if at all there is a stolen mandate? Because we've continued to see where it looks like the law in our country is marred by certain things we do not understand.
Now let's allow citizens to speak on that. I know you're also in that field. Do we have a trustworthy judiciary? A judiciary
that we can entrust with all of
this?
That is
anonymous, to interferences. Independence to interferences.
Yeah. I'm not in that field, so that the learners.
No, I think I would like from
the angle of citizens.
Analyst.
Yes,
professor is a professor at law. He's going to defend
they are
law.
the only learned people.
Yeah,
we speak as ordinary citizens.
But we all went to school.
Exactly. It's on a lighter note. Yeah. You see, when we talk about the Nigerian factor, it has become entrenched. It is like cancer that's been allowed to spread. There is no sector, traditional, religious. The politicians are the custodian of this challenge. And then the judiciary. Two, I can't remember which other administration did the kind of thing that was done to the judiciary like this present administration, where judges' residence were invaded in the middle of the night, take them out, detain them, put charges on them, remove the CGN, and then you bring somebody that Prof may tell us the kind of law that the last CGN studied and the issue of technicalities that became a comedy at the National Assembly, and one thing led to another. Those charges were dropped, some of them were returned. So, like Odili, was it the Mayor Odili?
Yes.
Our house was invaded,
yes.
And by the time they could not succeed, they said it was a wrong address somebody went to and all of that. Judges are humans. And then there's that fear, like I said the other day, there's a fear. A typical Nigerian has a fear, the fear of poverty. So anybody that has access to free money or opportunity to make it, they do it, and you cannot say that Nigerians don't have aspiration. They do have aspiration. A number of aspirations is, oh, I want my turn. That's where the my turn now comes in. Any office, Emilokon. Yeah. In the negative Emilokon, I'm not against Tinubu's Emilokon because he has given the youth something to think about. If you cannot think for yourself and fight for yourself, that's your business. So the judges were so intimidated. A number of them had to compromise. We've seen some judgments, which even a layman, my father was a community leader, and they sit over cases, and as children, we'll just go and find one corner and either stand or play there or eavesdrop to listen to how things are said. Very complicated cases. They will resolve in the community. After that, they will harmonize things, and then they'll fix the next date for when the city, the village roads are to be cleared, which one is to be this, women will do this and that, and you find the community was like a family. So the judges who are supposed to be so independent, these people don't mingle with ordinary citizens. You don't find them at supermarkets. You don't go to drinking spots. They don't go on vacation where you go to. But because of the Nigerian factor that has crept in, we've seen judgments that even a primary school child, if you put that in an exams and he writes the same thing we've seen come out from some of the courts, you will give that person wrong. So now fast forward to this very election. Going to court is a process. I am an ambassador for peace. I have had situations where I will have taken laws into my hands. In fact, Open Forum is born out of my transmitting my energy that I will have used in violence or whatever to bring something patriotic. So, going to court, knowing the fact that I have discussed with some lawyers long before now, I said, why are some judgments given and it's so questionable? I said, look, there are some judgments that are given for national interest. Not because it is justice, it is judgment, because we'll be able to manage the outcome and all of that.
National interest is part of justice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I've just said so.
Yeah. National
but
interest is part of
it
justice.
comes to a point where the injury on the people, the number of people that are affected becomes so much. Like somebody said on one of these videos that are trending, I think something came from outside. He said, look, if things are not done properly, the number of non-state actors you have radicalized will be very difficult to manage. So this very going to court, like Tinubu also said, this town hall is different. This very court is different because justice, for those that are saying I need justice, you need to give them justice, not judgment.
Sorry, I'm not cutting short. Please, let's correct this. He said that judges in Nigeria have been so intimidated that they compromise. That's a very sweeping statement that has to be corrected. Who intimidated who? But it is not correct.
You heard me say that judges
judges
invaded, their house were invaded and picked. At night.
That may not be
there might be a pocket of issues that happen, but we should not generalize it.
It's not generalized.
Of saying that
all right,
they compromise.
Let's move forward.
Nigerian judges are one of the best in the world. I can say that anywhere.
What
one judge sees, based on fact placed before him, might not be what another person sees.
I've not said all the judges. I didn't say all the judges.
Let's move forward.
I've said some of the judgments.
Citizen, let's move forward. Agreed that in every system in this country, we have pockets of people that can and usually get corrupted. But
that is what I've said.
Let's move forward. Let's compromise. Let's move forward. Justin, I need to get to something else in this election. Security was a major issue.
Yes, I was coming to that. But before we talk about security, let's take a watch at this particular video, please.
All right. Hey, sit there. They are going with our votes. They are going with our votes. They have changed the votes. They are going with the votes. They should go. They are going with our votes. They are going with our results. 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 Look at them. Police are going with our results. They're going with our results. See them. Hey, sit there.
Now, these and more are the kinds of videos that emanated out of the just concluded election across different parts of this country, where we see that, you know, in broad daylight with uniformed men, some of them with their rifles, you know, ballot papers, ballot boxes, things were scheduled, and they did not necessarily, in some parts of the country, come to the aid of the citizens or come to the aid of the process. Annie Justin, let's talk security in the just concluded election and the part that we see that the security forces, you know, necessarily played or did not play in these elections.
Okay, thank you, Yai. First and foremost, I want to say that I love the fact that Professor here most times they defend the part of the law, because I think that is his specialization. Yes, but we must accept that Nigeria is an animistic society. The same thing we see in the legal sector is the same thing we see in the security sector, is the same thing we see in education, is the same corruption we have in the health sector. So one way or the other, we must always accept the fact that Nigeria is an animistic society. Nigeria is a society that is not growing the way we would have wanted it to grow. So in every institution in Nigeria, we have this corruption creeping in, seeping into the fabrics of such institution and totally rendering it an eyesore to the global community. So when we talk security in the just past election, the last election, there is no way we are going to paint it to look as if security was all right when it wasn't. In many cases, apart from the videos we are seeing, even in our wards and units, we saw the complicity of security as a state vehicle. Now, when we look at security in an election, in a society like Nigeria, it is always a vehicle used by the states. So PDP, or what they want in the election, an APC control states will use the vehicle of security to their own disposal and to their own benefits. It is normal in the Nigerian society.
So what you're trying to say,
the question now is dispensation. I'm saying that in every state, in those pockets you saw those fallouts of security breaches, you would have understood that those fallouts were used to the benefit of the state actors. If you talk Akwa Ibom State, for example, there is no way an opposition will be able to use security to intimidate the state. After all, it is quite easy for the state to interface with the security, the military, the police, and all that. It's quite easy for the state actors to interface with them. Okay. It's tougher for the opposition to be able to interface and use them. If you go to Lagos State, what you're going to see is the state will use the vehicle of security. So if we are going to advise, we would first of all understand the anatomy of the situation. How are we going to be able to use security to protect the ordinary Nigerians? It's going to be tough. Like we saw in most of those videos, we saw where even the thugs in some parts of Etiosa in Lagos, while they were manhandling the citizens, the security people there were even telling them, take it easy, take it easy.
Now the question, sorry, let me ask Citizen, because we are far gone in time. 404,106 personnel, security personnel, is what IGP Alkali Baba said were deployed across the nation as to the presidential elections. Now, a lot of Nigerians have said that maybe that was just a smaller number of security personnel, because we've had situations where even in some polling units, there was the total absence of security personnel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when we hear that such a figure, if we don't have the breakdown, we may not be able to know. Because in the first place, without security, you should not think of election. Even political parties take security as number one. What they call security will be their thugs, and then the fake soldiers, the fake police. That some persons were arrested with military uniform and with arms. Naturally, it's not just here. It's everywhere. So sometimes it's not just the police force or the police or the army that constitute problem. It is the politicians who create their own secret police and brand them with the uniforms of the Nigerian forces. It's a very serious problem, and that is because the mentality, the mindset, until we punish crime, until we learn to say no to cutting corners, it will only grow worse. So the issue of security, I won't blame the IGP, I won't, but what we have seen, every police van that passed there, they have coats. Some of them you can see, they don't even cover their faces. So I expect that even as those who rigged elections in other areas, the talks that we saw, some known and unknown talks in Lagos, now the police that were assigned the police must also clean itself, because you cannot say we did not see what we have seen.
All right, thank you so much. Now, Professor Etefia, in just few seconds, do we have a situation where we as a country, we can curb electoral injustice and move forward?
Yeah, I would want to say that Nigeria is not the worst country on earth, and Nigerians are not, I wouldn't feel that all Nigerians are corrupt, that all Nigerians are bad people. No. It is possible for us to have an electoral system where the votes of the citizens will count.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a very, very wonderful conversation here this morning. Of course, Professor Etefia Ekanem, Professor at Law, thank you so much for your time. Annie Justin, our political analyst, thank you so much. Looking very beautiful this morning. And of course, citizen Matthew O'Connor. Oh, you're batified. You don't have the insignia on your cap,
my president.
Themselves batified.
Okay, thank you so much, Citizen Matthew O'Connor, founder and president, Open Forum. Thank you so much for your time. And that is how far we can go on the show this morning. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in, and also for those that
said this morning, thank you for being a part of our show, and let's see you again tomorrow. Of course, keep your candles burning bright and shining. Make sure you adhere to peace on your end of the country. We hand you over now to Sports Central and the rest of our programming. Enjoy.